you doing, good people? This is the 8-Bit Animal. And earlier this year, I talked about Silent Service, which was published by Ultra, who published today's game on the NES. And Silent Service was originally a PC title that was developed by Sid Meier, I want to say, who was the brain behind the original version of this game. And this game is really important because it's one of the first non-military titles that Sid Meier had a hand in. It's also one of the few like for real open world games on the NES. It was originally published in 1987 on PCs. We got it on the NES way out in 1991. And while it may not be as pretty as what happened on the Commodore 64 and all those other computer platforms, what we got on the NES is actually pretty admirable, because they put a whole lot of content on that cartridge, and that's saying a lot. But enough of me talking about it. Let's go ahead and get the brass tacks. Today, we're going to take a quick look at Pirates. Now, this NES port of Sid Meier's Pirates, it trims a couple things down as far as graphically, but a lot of the gameplay is left intact. You play as a pirate. You pick your allegiance at the beginning of the game to a few different countries. You can change allegiances over time, from the Spanish to the British to the French, Dutch, whatever. All the European hot boys is out here. You heard me? Well, you build a crew. You have to learn how to sword fight. You pilot your ship around the Caribbean. There are invisible borders. You can't go too far past Bermuda. You can't go too far south past Trinidad. So you have an area that you can travel in. But there's a lot to explore in that area. There's ship battles. There's you raiding ships. You go into port and doing your thing in port. Stuff like that. A lot of menus to go through. One important thing that I thought was kind of cool is in terms of resource management is making sure your crew doesn't starve at sea. So you can't just be out at sea forever. You gotta go and get provisions to feed them people. Cause Lord knows you don't want your people to get scurvy. You don't want them to get mad at you and throw you overboard, stuff like that. Also, shout out to them not having slave ships in this game, huh? Because this took place in the 16th, 17th, 18th century, something like that. And yeah, slavery was happening. So, yeah. But yeah, this port of Pirates is remarkable for a lot of different reasons. It showed that being able to drop all of this onto a cartridge was entirely possible. And it's the reason why a lot of these really feature-packed PC ports that, while they were kind of scaled down, like Maniac Mansion and Silent Service and Defenders of the Crown and stuff like that, why those things were released on the NES, by and large, they tend, if they were handled properly, they were they were good. And Pirates is a great example of a game that, while it could have gone real bad, it ended up being pretty good. Better than Skull and Crossbones or that horrible Peter Pan game, huh? Alright. If you decide you want a copy of Pirates for the NES, about $25 to $35 to get you a loose cart. You may be able to find this a bit cheaper on PC because a remake was put out in the 2010s. So you might be able to find an updated version of Sid Meier's Pirates somewhere else. But like I said, for an NES game, this is actually pretty remarkable. And it's something that you should definitely check out if you like Sid Meier's work. And a lot of us like Civilization, and a lot of us don't want to admit it. But this has been the 8-Bit Animal, and I'll catch you beautiful people tomorrow. Tomorrow, all hail the Monkey King. This has nothing to do with Dragon Ball, by the way.